So the other day I was at Joann's shopping for my Mirabelle Madrigal Encanto dress, and I found the most beautiful fabric that I had to have, but I hate spending money, so I left the store and did not buy it. But the next few days I kept thinking about it. So I went back yesterday and bought the fabric. And I'm going to make a beautiful sundress for a trip I have coming up in a few months to Greece. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with the fabric yet. I only got 2 yards because it was kind of expensive for my price range. I will add a link to it in the description box if you want to buy some for yourself. So I'm going to figure out what I can do with 2 yards to make a really fun spring summery outfit, and I'm really excited for it because I'm in love with this fabric. And here is the fabric in question. As you can see, it is so beautiful, and I'm so excited to have bought it, and I think it's going to drape wonderfully and make a beautiful dress no matter what pattern I go with. Now, normally I never pre-wash fabric, nor do I iron it before sewing, but because this is 100% rayon and it is also a crinkle fabric, I absolutely had to do that for this before I start, or else nothing would end up turning right with the final product. I ended up basing this dress off of a dress that I previously have owned from Target. So the first step in making this dress was copying down the pattern from my original dress and taking it down on, this is just tissue paper because I don't have pattern paper. And here is how the final pattern turned out, and I'm pretty confident in it, so I did not end up making a mock-up, and I'm just diving right in with the actual fabric, which I washed and now am ironing. As I ironed this fabric, I made sure to pull it and kind of straighten out all of the crinkling in it, because if I didn't and cut the pattern with the crinkles, then as the dress stretched out as you wore it, it would start to elongate and warp. And then I got straight to work on cutting out the pattern pieces, and I am not lining this dress, so it will be a little sheer, and I'm probably just going to wear a slip under it. While this fabric was a bit tricky and slippery to work with, I did end up cutting out all the pattern pieces, and now it's time for the fun part, which is actually sewing it together. I recently learned how to put a sleeve in flat, so I practiced that with this, and then because I'm not doing a lining with the dress, I added bias binding to the neckline so that it was nice and finished with this lightweight fabric. At this point, here is the partly finished top, and I actually love it so much that I'm contemplating on getting more of this fabric to make a top out of it because I think it's so adorable, but for now it's time to get working on the rest of the dress, which is the skirt. Using my adorable new cat tape measurer, I took to the hem of the dress and kind of measured out the yardage of it because I really wanted my dress that I'm making to have the same kind of flow as this previously purchased dress, and it ended up being about 2 or 3 yards, so that's what I ended up doing, and there's my adorable cat right there. The skirt will be comprised of 2 panels, one sewn to the front of the top and one sewn to the back, and then altogether the dress will be sewn up together in the side seams. I believe the final dimensions of each panel were about 60 inches by 18 inches, and then I started to gather the top edge, which would be fit to the bodice. After getting both of the skirt panels gathered together, I then added them to their respective bodice pieces. And to finish up the raw edges, I went in with my serger. Before sewing up the side seams, I just had to put it on to see how it was fitting, and I absolutely love the flowiness of it, and I think it's turning out really cute. So the final step will be to match up the skirt, bodice, and sleeve and just sew straight down from the hem of the sleeve to the hem of the dress. With that, the dress could be finished here, but I wanted to add a bit more detailing to make it more interesting, so I ended up sewing on these buttons that I've had for far too long in my stash, and I think that they totally match the fabric beautifully. I contemplated adding a faux button placket to the dress, but I decided to just sew the buttons right on instead and make things easier for myself because I really wanted to keep the flowiness of the dress and not add any more weight to it than necessary. What I didn't take into account is that this fabric is not very tightly woven, so there were several times when I was trying to sew the buttons on that the thread would just go right through the fibers, and I had to kind of get creative with how I knotted it. I absolutely love how this dress turned out, and I'm so excited to wear it on my trip in March, and I'm really proud of myself for buying the fabric that I wanted so bad, because I never buy fabric. Well, I do buy fabric a lot, but I always think about it and try to go for the cheapest things possible because I'm a penny pincher. So this was a big thing for me, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so happy. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to leave it a big thumbs up down below and click that subscribe button for more content like this. Bye!